I've always been starting my seeds indoors in a windowsill or underneath the growing lights, but there's always been a struggle to find the right growing container to really maximize growth and minimize transplanting. After a long search, I finally found the method that works best for me, but that might not be the best for you. So let me show you my journey and help you figure out how you can start your plants. Hey, and what is going on, fellow dreamers? Welcome to the Farm Dream. My name is Raymond, and today we're gonna look at the pros and cons of all these different growing containers. Starting out our vegetables or flowers indoors or in the glass can greatly extend our growing season. But there are so many different ways you can do it that it's hard to figure out what is right for you without spending a lot of money on it to try them all. My main goal was to fill up the nursery you see behind me, so I took that into account with measurements for trays and stuff like that, but ended up with something that I didn't expect. Let's start with what we're looking for in our containers. For me, it really comes down to 5 things. The strength of the container so they don't break and tear, the longevity so we don't have to keep on replacing them. They need to be made from recycled materials to minimize our footprint, easy to use and work with, and a good cell size for the compost so the plants don't dry out too quickly. When starting my search, I mainly found the sheer amount of seeds and module trays available, made from many different materials and a wide range of sizes. Going to the garden center helps by inspecting the product, but the pictures on the web shops usually leave some space for imagination. I actually bought some trays that ended up being too shallow, the wrong size. The cell sizes were just so tiny that it was unusable. The price difference is also something that stood out. Some trays would cost pretty much the same, but on arrival would perform quite differently. Now, the first tray I bought for our attic nursery were actually seed trays that were made for microgreens. They are actually quite strong, not the strongest, but definitely strong enough to stay in one piece and grow my microgreens, but they're not really great for starting out plants and transplanting them because the lack of modules in there. But we still use these today to hold our other trays, so they're actually pretty okay. Now, the pros are that it's strong, they have a common size, they have slots on the bottom to help with water distribution, and they fit perfectly on our growing rack. The cons: no modules, not eco-friendly, and they start to tear after a few months of use. Not the first trays that we used though. We started out with what I would call the most organic way to start out your seeds. These are module trays made out of pressed wood fibers, peat and limestone. It's biodegradable. Now this has 6 cells, you also have the version in 12 cells, and they seem to be a great way to start out. But oh boy, was I wrong. It's something that you can easily buy at most garden stores today. It's the biodegradable module trays. Now, they are okay price-wise. At first glance, they were actually quite strong as well. I mean, they bend a little bit, but they do well because they've been pressed with quite some force and they seem to be able to handle everything with ease. That is until you start watering your plants. The moment water hits your soil, the pots suck up all the moisture and take it away from your roots. And also, because of this basically being cardboard, or looks like cardboard, they start to get soggy and fall apart. We use them on top of plates of seed trays to make sure that we didn't need to touch them too much to make sure they don't break. It is really easy to plant these out. That's the big benefit. So if you want to transplant them, you can just tear out your cell and you can plant them directly into the soil because the rest will decompose. The pros: that it's biodegradable, the ease of use when transplanting, but the cons: it's soft, it sucks moisture away from your plant's roots, and it falls apart after watering. After the biodegradable pots, we decided to go with big multi-cell module trays. And these actually have 104 cells. This gives loads of space to start out your vegetables, and the cell sizes are okay. We got lucky because we already had a seed tray that is a common size, and these are the same size, so we could fit these in the soft plastic module trays to make sure that we have some extra strength. On their own, they don't really have any strength whatsoever. Especially when adding some weight to it, the weight of the compost and some water, they just start breaking and tearing. In general, we were quite happy using these module trays until the point of watering and transplanting. You need to water these, well, almost twice a day to keep the compost moist. And to transplant, you either need to squeeze the cell to force the plants out or use a small pencil or stick to poke them out. And well, that just starts breaking it all up. So transplanting these trays took a lot of time and created damage to the trays. The pros to these trays: fits many plants, it's a common size once again, it fits perfectly on the nursery rack. The cons is that they're soft, hard to transplant, they have sharp edges, and they dry out really quickly. After the module trays, I found this nifty tool that actually works out great to start out your seeds. It has big blocks that contain nothing more than compost. That's what I like most about the soil block maker. It works by compressing soil into the cells and pressing them back out. You have to wet your soil in order to get it to work, so you also don't really need to water after planting your seeds. It's really easy to use, and you could actually just make a fun day out of it because it does take quite some time. But yeah, if you just make a fun day out of making these blocks, it's definitely doable. The blocks do need something to stand on, so either you need to give up some of your plates or create a wooden structure or grab a few of those seed trays. One thing that I did notice was the roots looking for water in surrounding cubes, especially with the beans and the peas. It turned out to be quite a pickle when transplanting because all the roots were going through all the cubes. I would suggest this tool for small space growers that don't want to use soft plastic module trays but still want to start indoors to extend the growing season. But this is not for those who want to grow a lot of vegetables or flowers and that don't want to spend the time making all the blocks. The pros to this tool is that they have a big cell size, no need for plastic, ease of use, they have a long life, and no need for water after seeding. The cons: you need a base to stand on, it takes a lot of time, and roots go explore in other blocks. After all those trials, I still didn't find the tray that really made me smile when using it throughout the entire process. Every way of starting seeds indoors was filled with compromises left and right, so I kept on searching. And that's when I found the module trays from Containerwise. The trays are made out of strong plastic that seem to be tough enough to prevent them from bending or breaking. The cell sizes are variable because you can order different sizes, so they work out great. There's a lot of compost you can add to it. They're all quite high, so even the small cell sizes still have enough compost. One thing that I liked a lot is that it's made from recycled materials, and my plants have been slowly growing in the trays, and that's when the most brilliant part came of these trays. The bottom has holes you can fit your entire finger through, and this way you can easily poke out your seedlings without an extra tool or breaking the tray. As you might be able to tell, I'm quite excited about these trays. The pros: a big cell size, made from recycled materials, ease of use, long life, and they're strong. And the cons? None for me so far. Now, as you can tell, there are many different ways you can start your seedlings. I'm personally a big fan of the Containerwise trays for the sole reason that they're strong. They will last me up to about 15 years, which is an insane amount of time. These only last up to about a year. So that's the big difference. These only, it's a one-time use. So after that, they're gone. And the seed tray, not perfect either. So I think this is the perfect tray. Now, this is the 77 cell. I also have the 40 cell, and we have the Charles Dowding 60 cell coming up. There's just so many varieties of the same tray that you will definitely find the one that works best for your vegetables or flowers. Let me know in the comments what tray you are using right now. I'm interested to see what else is out there. Maybe we can still adjust to something else. For now, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, let me know by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. If you want to support the community, you can become a Patreon, and with that, get some behind the scenes content. But most of all, guys, don't forget to live the farm dream.